Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Welcome, dear friends, to the Spirit Society of Virginia at Kardec Radio in our Friday Inspirational Talk. What a blessing to be here. A blessing to meditate on the preciousness of our reincarnation. We wouldn't be here today were it not for the concession of God, giving us a new body and new opportunities. So we're welcoming each and every one of you as we prepare with a message and a prayer from the book, The Way, the Truth, and the Life, chapter 79, to each one. Stand up on your feet, said Paul in Acts 14:10. In general, when we incarnate in the physical world, we see only those who are disabled in the body, those who have lost their corporeal balance, or those who trudge painfully along bearing heart-rending deformities. Our sight is not good enough to identify the ill in spirit, the lame in mind, or the vanquished in the heart. If there were a place inhabited solely by the blind, people would end up losing interest in their eyes and would forget about them. Likewise, on the earth, where the vast majority of people are actually paralytic souls, as far as virtue is concerned, there are few who can grasp the disharmony of their spiritual health or who are aware of their undisputed needs. Thus, we can see that the mission of the gospel is much more beautiful and extensive than we could ever imagine. Jesus continues to pour out his blessings every day, and the secret wonders performed by the silence of his infinite love are much greater than those that happen in Jerusalem and Galilee. Because according to the apostolic narratives, the blind and the lepers, whom Jesus healed, became ill again and died. The healing of our infirm, paralytic minds is far more important because it occurs with an eye on eternity. We must not lose ourselves in illusory conclusions. Let us sharpen our hearing and remember the word of the apostle to the Gentiles. It is vital that each one of us stand up on his or her own feet, because there are many people who are hoping for angel wings that do not belong to them. So let us then pray, visualizing guardian angels with us. Dear Mother, Father God, what a gift, the very concession of this hour with you. What a blessing to perceive the presence of the spirit doctors, nurses, and therapists who lovingly care for each one of us. We visualize all of our homes enveloped in renewal, in sacredness, in health. Thank you so much for cleansing our minds and our bodies. Thank you so much for the remedies of the mind and the bodies. And we visualize our planet being enveloped by your loving care. Certain of your mercy, your loving justice. We begin this meeting tonight under the protection of your love, renewing our hopes in better days. As we endure the challenges that you present to us, may each one of us contribute with thoughts and feelings that are positive to the general good. And may we stay connected with you in obedience to your will. And so be it. All right. So we're going to begin with Paloma, right, Paloma?
That's
Reading for us the Spirit's book moment.
Yes, it's such a special moment as we have been studying the Spirit's book. And Kardec always asks questions that we have all these questions, right? We think about life and we look in the Spirit's book, and Kardec has asked the question for us. So, this is the Spirit's book moment, question and answer, and we are studying question 926. And it says, because it creates new necessities, isn't civilization the source of new afflictions? What is to create new necessities, right? Can we create new necessities? Who creates them? Are we creating our own afflictions? It's a great question. Let us see what the spirits told Kardec. They said, the misfortunes of this world result from the artificial needs you create for yourselves. Whoa, artificial needs. We'll come back to it, but keep that thought in mind right there. People who know how to limit their desires, seeing without greed whatever might lie beyond their means, spare themselves many disappointments in this life. The wealthiest are really those who have the fewest needs. This is so interesting, friends, because a lot of times when we think of our afflictions in this life, we tend to think this comes from the past. Some of it really do, but a lot of our current afflictions comes from this current life and what we're doing right now. And the spirits are saying, why? Because we create these artificial needs, these needs that are truly not needs. Maybe they are wants, but they're not needs. But in our own vanity, in our own, pride, we create these needs for ourselves. And then it gives us a lot of trouble, right? So like simple examples, we We live in a house, we want a house that is bigger. Now you have to pay more bills, everything grows, utilities expenses. Now you need to work more, and now you're stressed more and spending less time with family. Could have lived in the old house, yeah. And we just created this lot of expenses and a lot of work, a lot of stress in our lives, diverging us from what really, really matters in this current life. So that's what the spirits are bringing to us and reminding us that the wealthiest ones are the ones that have fewest needs. That's something for us to reflect, because we tend to think that the wealthier you are, the happier you will be. And they're saying, not really. We are prosperous according to the higher spirits when we have fewest needs in the material life. What does that mean? It allows us to focus on our spiritual life, in our progress, in helping others, in our families. And that way we will find happiness. So let us reflect on this. It's a beautiful question and beautiful answer for us to really think about and see and analyze our real needs versus our artificial needs. Thank you.
All right, so here we are. We are going to talk about today a topic that is so important: reincarnation, returning to the body again, once again. And there is much for us to meditate. Questions we may have are: how do we know if the spiritual plan, the reincarnatory plan for this life is being fulfilled? This is one of the main questions we're going to ask ourselves. Because if we don't watch out, we may lose a whole reincarnation. Given the example of the book 2,000 years ago by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier, when he said in the very book that he missed that whole reincarnation. Publius Lentulus, the senator, he was a good senator to the world, but in the eyes of God, he failed, because the plan for that reincarnation was not to be a good senator, but to be a senator that would follow the Christ consciousness, and he failed. The consequences Jesus predicted: millennia of suffering. No wonder 2021 years later, he's reincarnated in this world, in a world of the pandemic. Wherever he is here with us, on the same boat, in spite of it all. So the decisions we make today will affect us tomorrow and millennia to come. We want to understand more how it works, and that's why Carol is going to begin with the first steps into that explanation. Right, Carol?
Right, Vanessa. Thank you so very much. So, as Vanessa just mentioned, the experimenters would like for us to focus not simply on the process of reincarnation, but rather on gaining consciousness, bringing light onto the divine plan for each and every one of us. And we may be wondering, Carol, do we have a divine plan? How about me? Do I have a divine plan? And the answer, beloved friends, is yes. How do we know? Because God loves us equally. So God has an educational plan that is tailor made for each and every one of us in this reincarnation. And we dare to say, beloved friends, that this is our most precious reincarnation, because literally we have in our hands tonight before our eyes the promised consoler that brings back the Christ consciousness to our hearts and souls. So we are so blessed that we can put on the glasses of spiritual understanding, and we can look at life from a spirit perspective, eternal perspective. No longer do we need to look at life solely from a material perspective, because thanks to the divine plan from above, in the name of God, we now have tools through which we can live on earth, but with our eyes aimed at eternity. And some of the most precious tools that we have been offered in the name of God through the Christ is the Spiritist codification. This is why tonight both Paloma and myself are going to focus on bringing about two of these tools for our attention. One is the Spirit's book, yet again, another precious Spirit's book moment. And the second tool that we are going to use is the book The Messenger by André Luiz, through the blessed mediumship of Chico Xavier. So let us begin. We will begin with 3 questions from the Spirit's book about our divine plan. And we will continue with one particular case study from the book The Messenger before Paloma continues offering us yet more tools. So tonight we are going to leave this talk with many divine tools in our reincarnatory toolbox. Let us begin. So the first question, dear friends, that we would like to bring to our attention is question 132 from the Spirit's book. Kardec wisely asks, what is the purpose of a reincarnation? Have we ever wondered that ourselves? Why are we here? Why are our lives surrounded by a specific set of circumstances? Why is it that we may encounter the same situation more than once? Why is it that we feel a particular way about a group of people and a different way about others? The answer is beautiful. Because we are reincarnated in a diverse environment that can lead us to perfection. Yes, beloved friends, many of us may think that we are here to pay for past errors, but the spirits from on high shed a new light into our understanding. They help us understand that the challenges we face are not out of punishment, but rather they are tools, stepping stones through which we hit and lead ourselves towards achieving higher virtues. So we develop new muscles for the soul. What is another purpose of a reincarnation? It is expiation, to struggle through similar circumstances that we need to overcome in ourselves that we may bring from a past existence. But why do the situations repeat themselves? So that we can again develop the virtues that we haven't fully developed yet. Because how else, dear friends, are we going to develop the virtue, for instance, of patience if we are not tested in terms of our patience? How are we going to develop the virtue of benevolence, goodwill, if we are not tested in terms of putting our goodwill into practice? This is why the tests come again, not as a punishment, but as an opportunity of spiritual growth. What is another purpose? It is to fulfill a particular mission, a task given to us by God. And the spirits explain further a beautiful take on the purpose of a reincarnation. That as we reincarnate, we take our particular role in the work of creation, because each of us have a tailor-made reincarnatory plan. By fulfilling that plan, we are helping ourselves individually to grow, but we are also contributing to collective growth because we influence one another. We are interdependent, so we are co-creating a new reality for ourselves and for others. Because we are here not to be on vacation, not to retire, not to have 3 beach houses or a new car every year, but to acquire virtues. The more we acquire eternal virtues, the more we are in balance, in harmony with God's will. And once we become more aligned with God's will, then our lives become the means through which we fulfill God's directives. So another question for us. Question 133, Kardec wisely asks, is reincarnation necessary for those who have followed the path of good from the onset? Good question. So if we have done everything right in terms of fulfilling God's will, do we still have to incarnate? Is it necessary? And the answer is very illuminating. The spirits explain to us that we are all created simple and ignorant. And because we are all created the same, we acquire knowledge through the struggles and tribulations of corporeal life. This is why we tend to say the necessity is the mother of all inventions. It's because of the struggles that we face that we develop new skills. For example, simple example, we at the Spiritus Society of Virginia didn't used to broadcast all of our activities prior to the pandemic. After the pandemic, because of the struggle of the pandemic, all of us had to develop new skills, had to develop a new way of sharing the teachings that nourish all of our souls. So it is the tribulation of the pandemic that brought us out of our comfort zone and taught us new ways to nourish our souls together. So yes, it is through the struggles and tribulations of corporeal life that we acquire new virtues. So question for us, therapeutic question for us. Because we are incarnated to carry out God's will, are we already aware that we need to live, that we are being called to live a God-centered life? How do we know, Carol? Simple, dear friends. How many times do we think of God? Do we connect to God consciously on a daily basis? Because God is already consciously connected to us. as the universal creator, the question is, have we connected to God ourselves consciously? Question number 1 for us. And question number 2 for us. Can we already see how our struggles have led us to develop new virtues? And our last question from the Spirit's book that we would like to examine together, beloved friends, is question 258, in which Kardec asks, does a spirit have the awareness and foresight of what will happen to them in a new life? Meaning, do we know prior to reincarnating what we are going to undergo in this new scenario of which we are going to be part? And the answer is very revealing. Though concise, the answer, dear friends, is very illuminating. The spirits tell us, the spirits from on high, tell us that we ourselves, the spirit itself, chooses the type of trial it wishes to endure. This answer from the spirits, beloved friends, is not trivial, because this answer brings the responsibility for our lives back onto us, because we may bring from previous existences a particular spiritual emotional addiction. And that addiction is of taking part of the blame game. If something, a situation, does not turn out to be the way we expect, we tend to say, well, if God loved us, this would not happen. And we could even bargain with God, saying, God, you know, if we give you this, will you give us that? Or we may blame others in our immediate circle. We may say, oh, it was because of our mother or father, they didn't give us this, so how could we know? It's because of our partner, they didn't accept this aspect of us, so how could we progress? It's because of our child, it's because of our boss. We may be very proficient at pointing fingers, but are we proficient at taking responsibility? This question shows us that we are the ones who co-designed our reincarnatory plan. We selected our challenges because we didn't want to repeat the old in this new life. We wanted to learn the new. We wanted to develop the wing of wisdom and the wing of love. So we ourselves designed experiences that were perfect for us to get out of the comfort zone and embrace the new. So, of course, we are challenged, but we are challenged for the good. So, if we are too much in the comfort zone, dear friends, and if we are good at blaming others, tonight we are being given a chance to readjust the lenses through which we examine our own lives. We are being invited to read life differently. Rather than feeling victimized when we are faced with challenges, including the pandemic, we are being invited to feel blessed by looking at challenges as growth opportunities. So, how have we, third therapeutic question for us to consider, how have we developed ourselves both intellectually and morally? lately during this pandemic? Have we been investing on virtue expansion? And have we been learning testing new skills? Because that's what we are here to do. And so now, dear friends, we know that we are to take responsibility for our trials. If we have, for example, a challenging relative, that challenging relative is there, right there, in our face sometimes, literally. Why? Because we may have asked to develop resignation. We may have asked to develop faith. We may have asked to develop understanding. So God has told us, I believe in you, so I'm going to give you the gift that you are asking for. What a blessing, dear friends. And now that we know that we are responsible for our trials, and that our trials are in fact unique opportunities for us to develop God-centered virtues aimed for our eternal progress and growth, we are going to look at one particular case that Andre Lewis describes in the book The Messengers. The book The Messengers, dear friends, and as it's stated here, we are going to look at Mariana's case. In the book The Messengers, dear friends, Andre Lewis describes an institution in the Nosso Lar colony aimed at training reincarnating spirits to embrace spiritism and particularly mediumship with the Christ. So, likely, if you are watching us or listening to us, beloved friends, you too were educated and trained. All of us were educated and trained prior to coming to this life. How do we know? Let's think. How many spiritists are there in the world? Maybe millions? But how about the number of spiritists who speak in English? Quite a few, right? So if you are here listening to the teachings of Spiritism in English, as we all are, likely we were very prepared in an institute such as this, where we were carefully given the guidance of superior spirits who believe in our progress and who helped us to write the very lines of our reincarnatory plans that was or were approved by God's love and wisdom. So this is Mariana, dear friends, the woman you see here in the picture wearing the brown coat. She had reincarnated with the mission to embrace Spiritism and become an active participant in a Spiritist center. However, Mariana failed, though to the eyes of society, she checked all the boxes according to human laws. According to God's laws, she failed. How so, Carol? Because she did not get all the check marks on the items that she had established for herself as her eternal educational goals for this lifetime. One of the major ones for her was to become an active participant of her Spiritist community. Why so, dear friends? So that she would learn to expand her sense of love by embracing the universal family. This was an item in her reincarnatory plan. However, Andrea Lewis reports to us that she failed. The question we would like to examine tonight, beloved friends, is why did Mariana fail? Andrea Lewis explains to us that Mariana failed due to a list of excuses that she created for herself. She claimed 1. My husband did not support me. 2. My daughters were turning against me every time I tried to partake in the work of supporting, being a part of my Spiritist community. And she also claimed that her husband became enraged whenever she attempted to do the work of the good. And she, Mariana, decided then to prioritize her family rather than to expand her virtues and learn to embrace the universal family. Question for us, another therapeutic question for us. Do we have our own list of excuses? Have we been making excuses ourselves so as to delay, postpone, embracing the Christ consciousness, which is most definitely an item on all of our reincarnatory plans? Have we been making excuses ourselves? What may be the items on our list? And equally as importantly, dear friends, how can we shift mentality? If we now are able to recognize that we are postponing embracing the good, how do we shift? We have a few proposals to make for all of our consideration as we learned from studying the book The Messengers. Number 1, we can start embracing the universal family all the more and not focus just on ourselves. We can let go of an ego-centered life, the me, mine, my mentality. By number 1, says Andrea Lewis in the book The Messenger. Find a few minutes, always, he says, and a few small opportunities to do the good. Sometimes it's in our homes, in our very homes, that we can do the good. Sometimes someone who lives under our very same roof is in need of a smile, and we may withhold affection for some reason because we would like that smile to come from to us, not from us. And we are being invited now to think the opposite, to stop thinking, how can we be served, and start thinking, how can I serve more? Can I cook a meal with love? Can I smile at my loved ones? Can I write a thank you note? Can we write a appreciation email to a coworker? Always find a few minutes and a few small opportunities to do the good. Number 2, work in silence. That's a good one, beloved friends, because many of us give up doing the good, even in our own homes, because there are no trumpets announcing the good that we are making. There are no outdoors announcing the fact that we are good people. There are no applauses when we do the good. Sometimes, as parents, we may expect to be applauded by our own children. For example, we may make their bed every day, and inside of us we may think, oh, if they only loved me, they would at least say thank you once a week. And we keep building up these expectations. How come our partner doesn't bring us flowers? Shouldn't every partner know that we need flowers every week? Oh, how come they didn't appreciate the dinner I cooked with so much love? How come the hours that we spend in the supermarket are not recognized? How about the cleaning that we did? Nobody sees it. You see, dear friends, how we are still learning to work in silence. We still have the trumpet mentality, ta-da-da-da, ta-da-da-da, announcing the good. And this is something we are reincarnated to let go of. Number 3, the higher spirits, through Andre Lewis, recommends to us demonstrate sincere willingness to sacrifice. Most of the time, we want to help, but we want to help expecting to receive something in return. Very rarely do we help without calculating what we may receive back. We may help, for instance, someone at work thinking, if we help that person will help us next time we have to do a project. Or we may say, we will treat this person nicely because they can lend us some money if we need it. We may calculate what we will receive in return, even if we don't say it. In our minds, we may be doing the calculation of the return, not the tax return, but the return of the good that we think that we are doing. But we are instead, dear friends, being invited to sacrifice our ego and to do the good just because it feels good. Number 4, we are also being invited to follow all guidelines for obedience and optimism offered to others. This is a good one, dear friends, because we all tend to have the perfect recipe for happiness for someone else, for our neighbor, for our partner, for our friend. We have the perfect plan for them. Oh, if they did this, if they drank this type of tea, if they knew of this book, if they meditated at a certain time, we have the recipe for them. We have it sometimes memorized, phrases that we like to say to others, but rarely do we follow those advice ourselves. We are being asked tonight to recalibrate ourselves by applying what we offer to others. And finally, most importantly, is for us to remember that we are in the physical realm to grow in Jesus, in the Christ consciousness. And how do we grow in the Christ consciousness? By developing the 2 wings. Are we investing in our moral growth every day? By reading an inspirational message, by praying more, by listening to inspirational talks such as the one tonight? And are we investing in our intellectual growth as well, learning the new? These are the recommendations, not from us, but from the higher spirits who love us and guide us. And now, to continue our journey of self-discovery, Paloma will guide us through more tools that we can add to our toolbox for immortality. Thank you, Paloma.
Thank you, Carol. And friends, when we are studying reincarnation and starting to bring it to you here, the topic is so vast. This is just simple highlights. We recommend go find the books, go read more because it's life changing. Reincarnation for us brings a new perspective in how we we look into our lives and how we find ourselves living in eternity and what we need to do. It's a must study topic, okay? So, Carol just demonstrated to us some key things about reincarnation, that we were all created simple and ignorant, and we learn, we have experiences in life so that we keep evolving. That's why we have these tribulations. We also learn that most of us choose the kind of trials that we're going through. That is interesting to learn because we think that it's imposed on us. And instead, we're going to walk out of here today knowing it is not. We actually chose. We chose to be in the families. We chose to be in a certain profession. We chose to go through some physical ailments in our bodies. So we chose to be at this time, at the pandemic time. Interesting, right? We also know we have had many lives. At this point, we are lucky to be here. This is a great reincarnation, is the best one yet. But a question we always have, and it's a question that Kardec asked. Why do we forget our past? Why can't we remember what happened in the past? We wish to know sometimes. And Kardec asked the same question. Why does the incarnate spirit lose the memory of its past? Now, friends, before us listening to what the spirits are going to tell us, let us think about it. God doesn't make mistakes. God has a plan for all of us. He created everything. Do we think that God would have made this faulty person that our memory doesn't work very well and we can't remember? Or did God create us this way for a reason? Should we remember the past? Is God trying to protect us from our past? Let us see what the spirits are going to say. Human beings cannot and must not know everything. God, out of divine wisdom, wills it to be this way. Without the veil that hides certain things from them, they would be dazzled, like one who passes suddenly from the darkness into the light. By forgetting their past, they are more fully themselves in the present. So this misconception that if we knew about our past, we would do better now, we could change, it is not true. It is a total misconception. The reality is we wouldn't be able to handle the truth of our past. Again, this is our best reincarnation. We are better today than we were in previous lives. That's certain. That is 100% certain. We never regress. We only progress. So imagine that, many reincarnations ago, we were not very good people. We probably committed crimes, hideous crimes. Would we be able to handle that? Most likely not. So it's a blessing that we don't remember. And let us go further for us to be able to visualize and feel it. Imagine that You just delivered a baby, you're holding your son or daughter in your arms. Imagine if you knew that that child could have been a criminal with you in the past or committed a crime against you. Would we look to our children with the same love? No. But reincarnation comes. We don't remember the past. We receive our children, or we are received by our parents, and they look at us and they accept us. And in a new life, we are able to work whatever happened in the past out. And not only, we can focus on the present and make our future much better. And that's what matters. And that's why the spirits are saying, when we forget the past, we are more fully present. I love this analogy that I've heard before, which is, imagine that we're driving a car and we're only focused on the rear view mirrors. What happens? Most likely we'll crash the car because we're just looking at the mirrors. We are not focused to what's happening and what's coming ahead of us. This is our lives. If we're only focused on the past, we are not paying attention to our current life and what we can do right now for the future. The life we want in the future is being sold today. And that's why understanding reincarnation is so critical. If we think that after this life we go to dust and we disappear, we're going to be shocked to find out that on the other side, we're actually going to be preparing again to reincarnate once again until we are pure spirits. So, we are also going to talk about a little case from the book, The Messengers, which is about Otávio. And André Luiz was introduced to Otávio, and so André Luiz comes and reports this story in the book. Just like what Carol was talking about Mariana's in the same book, there are so many other cases. You want to study more? Go get this book, okay? It's available in English. You can find it online. It's easy access. So what happens to Otávio? He starts telling his story that he had acquired many debts from another lifetime. He ended up in a solar and he prepared for his new reincarnation for 30 years. Okay, how long did he prepare for this reincarnation? 30 years. It is a lot of preparation. And it's not only him that is involved. There is a team of spirits, good spirits, mentors that are all working with him, helping him, assisting him, designing his new reincarnatory plans. What is he going to do? In this case, he was supposed to go back to Earth to work as a medium. And during this whole process of preparation, he was assisted by many people, but specifically 6 spirit friends. They worked a lot. Otávio was to be given a strong, healthy body. He would have been involved in very important work in the area of helping others, consoling others through his mediumship. He was to come in a family that was already evangelized, that could support him. Good mother, good father. And when he did reincarnate and he started learning and he had these mediumship faculties, he had other members of his family that would take him to like centers to help develop it. But what happened? He wasn't supposed to get married. So that was not in the reincarnatory plan for him. He was supposed to dedicate to others. But at the age of 20, he was supposed to also welcome the 6 friends that helped him in the spiritual realm and also learn. He was supposed to help them also to reincarnate. If he had done this would have held Otávio's impulses and distractions, especially regarding sex. It would have kept him from abusing his faculties. Why would have kept him? Because with 6 children coming that you have to assist and all the other work in mediumship, that would have been a lot of work. He would have been dedicated to doing the good and not would have been focused on all the other material things of life. But what happened? Otávio forgot his commitments. Every single one of them, he forgot. He disregarded his mediumship faculties and thought that he was having hallucinations, went to a doctor. And the doctor, which probably he was hallucinating himself, told him that he needed sex. So he was young, he was supposed to go out, and that was going to help him. Then Otávio's father passed away, leaving 6 small children behind. Who are those 6 small children, friends? They are the very 6 spirit helpers that assisted Otávio in Nosso Lar. Otávio's stepmother asked for help with the small children, but he abandoned them. He did. Seemed so heartless. But that's what he did. Remember, he wasn't supposed to get married, but he ended up getting married. He made a mistake, and so that, to be presentable to society. So out of lust, he ended up marrying someone, and her spiritual level was below of his, and she and his son ended up being really like his obsessors. By the age of 40, he didn't do anything he was supposed to do, and he ended up going back to the spiritual realm, consumed by syphilis, alcohol, and financial problems. So all this 30 years of planning, this preparation, especially dedicated people to him for all the work he was supposed to do, wasted. He wasted his reincarnation. And this is not an unusual story, is it? When we get lost on our daily chores and we're supposed to help more, but I'm so busy, I'm focused, I need to work, and we forget, and life goes by. But the beautiful thing is that regardless of our mistake, we always have a chance. We have one more chance, and again, and again, and again. And it is so beautiful because one of the people that is with Otávio, as he's getting sad, telling the story to André Luiz, she says, Jesus doesn't withhold the blessing of time from us. Be calm and courageous. She's telling us, friends, be calm and courageous. If right now we're thinking about our reincarnation, what are we doing? It's not a blame game. We need to allow the past to stay in the past. Be calm, courageous, and let us face what is to come. We have a chance. Jesus is with us in this reincarnation and all the other ones. And I want to bring also something from Emmanuel. This book, Thought in Life, we've learned that it is what they study in the spiritual realm in preparation to reincarnate. There's a lot in it. But this specific part from chapter 11, the cradle, let us read it together. Our cradle in the world is the reflection of our needs. It is the duty of everyone reincarnated to honor it with work worthy of self-restoration, improvement, or elevation. We must also bear the certainty that we were brought or attracted to it in obedience to the problems we face in our regeneration or the stewardship we need to be able to readjust our future destiny. Emmanuel is telling us what we have right now in this reincarnation is what we need. We need to take it, work with it, make ourselves better, improve, and know that for sure we attracted it. There's no blame game anymore. There's no victim or, they did this to me. No, we attracted it. We brought it on us. But also we can work with it and readjust ourselves and change what's to come. It is just a matter of time. Courage and patience for us to continue in this journey. And for us to finalize our last thought from the book Living Spring, chapter 56, which says, "Be born again now." Emmanuel finishes up talking to us, you and me. He says, "Be born again right now regarding your objectives, resolutions, and attitudes, working to overcome the obstacles around you and anticipating the victory over yourself in due time. It is better to help today than to be helped tomorrow." Thank you, friends.
All right. So, talking about good decisions, our children today learned about the parable of the Good Samaritan, and Daisy and Luciana led the lesson, and would like you to share with us the main points and also about the heart work.
Yes, sure, Vanessa. So tonight in the children's class at the Spirit Society of Virginia Facebook channel and also available on YouTube, we covered the last parable. So we were in a series talking about all Jesus parables, and tonight we just closed it talking about the Good Samaritan, which I think it was the really crown of it all. And we told the children about Jesus' golden rule, how we should do to others what we would like to receive. So if we want to receive kindness from others, we need to be kind ourselves. If we want to receive a helping hand, we need to also offer others a helping hand. So we show them a short video about how there was a man who was, you know, going on in his way on the road, and he got someone came along and stole everything from him, took his money, took his clothes, and really at the end of it all really left him, abandoned him, all beaten up. And so many people went by, but they had excuse and why, they wouldn't help him. But this good Samaritan came by, and he was the one that really went out of his way to help him. So we use this story then to do an activity in the heart work of this week that Milos Luciana is going to share for us.
Yes, so as we practice and together with the adults, this golden rule, right, to help to do to others what we would like to receive, we suggest together with the masters to work as a family and remember of the passage of this Good Samaritan. And the affirmation for this week is, I do to others what I would like to receive, and today I'm practicing being like a good Samaritan by giving a helping hands, right? Looking to the others and see what they need, helping in the family, helping wherever we can be useful. So this is what we are sharing with the kids and also sharing with ourselves, because we are being called to be this good Samaritan to the whole humanity that is in greater need in this moment in time.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It brings to us a lot of hope, and it brings to us exercises in discipline, right? When we practice new habits, the habit of thinking less of ourselves. So now, as we are all here together, we would like to extend this moment into our homes as the passes in the prayer. And we're going to ask Luciana and Daisy to kindly help us with the passes followed by the prayer with Daisy. All right?
Okay, so let us close our eyes, dear friends, and feel the joy of the blessings that we receive daily. Breathing deeper, let us visualize Master Jesus right in front of us with his arm right open, waiting for us. And as we walk towards him, this purifying light permeates not only our physical body, but also our spiritual body with the pure spirit, cleansing and renewing our energies. And as we continue in this effort to reach Master Jesus, we feel lighter and lighter every step of the way. And we can feel the warmth all around us. And now this light is so bright that we can only feel that we are close to Master Jesus. In this energy that we feel is so good that we expand and fluctuate. And as we flow up in the air with Master Jesus, we are now ready to receive all the blessings, the remedies that we need to heal every part that is in need of care, in need of His love. And as we stay with Master Jesus, receiving this flow of love, these healing energies, we visualize our home being enveloped in these healing vibrations of love. And this energy harmonize our home and heals everyone that live with us. We can see our loved ones lighting up just like Master Jesus is light up. Our plants and pets are also being healed. Everything in our home is being healed and harmonized. And now that we are all receiving these healing energies, we visualize the neighborhood, the state, the capital of our country being enveloped in this healing light. And the whole planet Earth enveloping in love is being healed and receiving the flow of love from our Master Jesus. And as we continue to feeling the flow of love all around us, in gratitude, we pray with our dear friend.
Let us raise our thoughts to the Creator of our lives. Dear loving God, what an honor to be here tonight, Father, to learn directly from you through your messengers about the importance of this reincarnation, the preciousness of this life, that we have the privilege of being incarnated on earth. Tonight we were reminded the importance, but also how much we prepared ourselves. Dear Father, thank you for this reminder, and let us not forget of the commitment that we made, the commitment we made with ourselves, with our loved ones, with our enemies, but most important, the commitment we have with you. We are here to fulfill your plans, dear Father. Please finding us, arms ready to work, hearts open. But you also know, Father, that we need your sustenance. We need your support. Because there are times when we do need to be carried through the hardships of life, as Jesus has shown to us. And we ask that tonight, receiving the blessings, that all of us can feel renewed in our commitment to you and feel your presence alongside of us so that we cannot give up, that we march forward resolute, courageous to fulfill this reincarnatory plan. And tonight we also pray, Father, for the many who at this moment are sick through their physical bodies, their spiritual bodies, those who are desperate and feeling abandoned, the many who are fleeing their homes because of persecutions, those who are in refugee camps, prisons, shelters, or on the streets, and many who have discarnated or discarnating at this moment. We pray that they are welcomed in the spiritual hospital and also that their family members and loved ones are consoled. Thank you, dear Father, and we ask your permission to close this meeting of tonight under your guidance and your protection. And so be it.
Thank you, friends, for being here with us in this beautiful day when we are revisiting our reincarnatory plan. We hope that this study clarifies much, and as Paloma and Carol mentioned, the book The Messengers contains lots of cases. So may you find the book and read it or read it again to know more about when we fail and when we succeed in our reincarnation. If you have any question, feel free to write to us at cardiacradio@gmail.com. For now, we give you a big hug. Wishing you many blessings during this week. Thank you, friends.